It is about 9 o'clock in the morning here in North Texas, and it's currently about 85 degrees. We are scheduled to hit maybe, I think, 108 today, and yesterday we hit 110, and then tomorrow we're scheduled for 110. So with that being said, it's been getting pretty hot. It's actually been quite a struggle trying to keep a lot of our crops alive because they've been getting sun scorched. As you can see here from my Tommy apple melons that are just completely dilapidated due to uh, this quintessential change in climate, this heat pattern that we're going through. So with that being said, it's time for me over here at Urban Garden with Gray to go ahead and start transitioning into my fall growing season. And so with that being said, I want to go ahead and start moving my operation to indoors. So as you know, we are no stranger here at Urban Garden with Gray with growing indoors. A lot of the seed trays that we've shown in previous videos, like this video here, we've actually started indoors. For instance, when we talked about our squash and our cucumber, as well as a lot of the propagations, as well as growing hydroponically as well. But there's a product that I've been interested in and for quite some time that I've luckily partnered with a new company, and I actually think this might change the game for me. So that's what I'm going to do with you today, is actually show you this product and show you the ins and outs and getting it started. And then I'm thinking about doing some A/B testing to see if it actually expedites the seed germination process as it's projected. So come plant with me. So what we have the opportunity of looking at today is a device from a company by the name of Hope Garden, and what they have sent us is an intelligent planter. This is a system that will allow you to grow hydroponically indoors. Now, of course, many of you know that's already familiar with the channel. We're not new to growing hydroponically. But if you are new and if you're new to growing, don't worry, I'll give you a quick crash. Growing hydroponically is the ability to be able to grow plants using a water-based medium as opposed to soil. In theory, the system does allow you to grow without using extensive amounts of water, so it's great for water conservation. And this is something that we've tried on many occasions. Before I started the channel, I grew some brassicas, specifically broccoli, in an aeroponic system. It uses the same principles as hydroponics, except the only difference is this system actually aerates the water and kind of sprays like a mist onto the roots as opposed to completely submerging the system. The system that we're reviewing today and that we're going to be doing our A/B testing is a solely hydroponic system with LED lights. So what are our expectations? In this video, three things are going to take place. One, we're going to do an initial setup and review of the product. The reason why I say initial is because we can't truly get any real data until we start having plants actually growing in a system and see how they progress. So we're going to do an initial review of the product. Two, what you are going to see is you're going to see planting taking place. Specifically, we're going to be planting two types of leafy green vegetables. We're going to do spinach and we're going to do lettuce. Reason why I want to do lettuce and spinach, because one, that's what I want for my fall garden, and these are cool weather plants. So we're definitely going to be doing some spinach and lettuce, and that leads us to our third thing, third expectation. What we're going to be doing as well is we're going to be doing a little bit of A/B testing. By A/B testing, what I plan to do is do a control that's grown specifically in soil, giving the same conditions, and the other being our new product, being the intelligent planter. So before we get into the conditions for our testing that we're going to be doing, and before we even get into the planting, I want to talk a little bit about what you actually get in the box with the intelligent planter. Now, first and foremost, it comes with the actual device itself. It's very sleek design. I find this is going to be easy If you're trying to grow indoors and you're trying to do it like in a kitchen countertop, it doesn't take up a very big profile. Also, it has a telescopic neck on the LED light that's attached to the top to allow you to adjust it as your plants grow taller. Additionally, with the device itself, you also get a quick reference guide that gives you a breakdown on how to operate the machine, as well as how to set up your seeds, and then how to mix up your A and B nutrients. Now, here are your nutrients here. All you have to do is simply add water and shake them up to give your plants the hydroponic solution that it needs. Not to mention, it also comes with a user guide that I find to be very helpful, because in this user guide, towards the end of it, you actually have a grid layout here where you can actually track when you've planted your plant, when you gave it its first hydroponic solution, and actually keep track of that. I find it to be very convenient because I'm a little old school. I prefer to write things down as opposed to keeping them digitally, like I know a lot of folks have moved over to. Still old school, I like to write things down. Speaking of writing things down, they also give you um, they give you stickers, excuse me, they give you tabs that you can actually write, and stickers that you can write the names and the dates of your plants, to keep track of them. And I don't know if you're like me, but there's been several occasions where I always say that, hey, I'm going to remember what I planted here, yet I never do. And I got to tell you, squash, watermelon, and cucumbers, when the seeds are germinating, they all look exactly the same. So hopefully, with my ADHD, this will actually keep me on track so that I can make sure I remember what I planted and when I planted. So along with the A and B solution, you get your pods and your expanding soils that you can place your seeds into. Then you get a neat pair of plastic tweezers that you can handle your seeds when you're placing said seeds in the expanding soil. This is going to house your seeds, so when you're placing it in a solution, it it doesn't go all over the place. So it's cool that you come with it. Now, it does not come with seeds. So if you're an experienced grower or if you're a new grower, uh, theoretically, you should have your own seeds already. So just know that in the system, it does not come with seeds. So make sure you have the seeds that you want to grow specifically. So now, our hypothesis. Specifically with this A/B testing type of experiment that I'm going to be doing, I hypothesize that growing hydroponically will allow us to have a more accelerated grow rate rather than growing through soil. And this doesn't come as just some random thought. It's actually based off of data seen as how I've grown hydroponically before, using both aeroponic methods, aquaponic methods, as well as cracky methods as well. So with that being said, I'm going to get the results that I'm looking for. But if you are not specifically interested in the A/B testing, you can go ahead and skip to the next section where we actually get to breaking down, where we get to setting up the system. So before we begin planting, let's take a moment to look at the intelligent planter itself. First, I want to show you with it being plugged up, it takes a very low profile here on the countertop. Next, I want to take a look at the control system right on the top. You have your power button, which turns the entire system on and illuminates with the LED lights that are mounted up on the top. You also have a very low, barely audible water pump that runs once water is in the system. So since we don't have any water in the system just yet, let's go ahead and turn that water pump off because we don't want to burn out that motor. Next, you have Next, you have two different uh, light variables that you can change on the system itself. You have one specifically for your vegetables, and then you have another that is for your flowers and fruits. And as you can see here from toggling the buttons back and forth, you have different LED lights that are being activated to give you different lights that are in the spectrum. So I think that's actually pretty cool. And since we are germinating seeds, remember, we're not going to need these LEDs right now because the light the ultralight spectrum is not something that seeds actually need. They need darkness and warmth given whatever your seeds you're growing. So we can turn that off completely and still toggle the water on so it can still keep moving that water around, which I find to be a very cool function because whenever you have a situation where you have stagnated water, you run the risk of actually having fruit flies and mosquitoes lay their larvae in that stagnant water. Now, of course, you don't want a mosquito breeding ground in your house, especially not out here in North Texas. So, being able to have that water flow around, it keeps it from going stagnant and it keeps the nutrients swirling around once you actually get plants and root systems growing inside. Now it's time to begin planting. So, before you begin planting, one thing that's recommended, and this is in really any growing situation when you're talking about germinating seeds outside of direct sow, is you want to make sure you pre-soak your seeds. As we have here, this is our seeds for our spinach, and then in our second shot glass, we have our seeds that have been germinating for our lettuce. Now, it depends truly upon the seeds that you're going to be placing in the device, or if you're going to be growing hydroponically and other matter, you want to make sure that it is recommended to pre-soak your seeds about 6 to 12 hours. But of course, that depends on what types of seeds that you are germinating. Next, we're going to be taking our sponges and soaking them as well. So we're going to be dropping those in waters so that they can fully expand, so that they can fit into the holder that goes down into the grow deck. All right, now that we've had time to allow our sponges to soak, now we can take our holder here and we can actually place the sponges down in our holder. And as you can see, they just fit in as such. As more water starts getting introduced when it's in the system, it will expand more, but this is truly just to be able to hold and handle your seeds. All right, and now that we have our sponge and our holder, we're going to take our convenient little plastic tweezers here, and we're going to start off by placing our seeds right into the center of the sponge here. And it's actually pretty neat because not putting really any pressure whatsoever on the seed, which is great because you don't want to damage the seed and prevent it from germinating. Now, in the instruction manuals, it is recommended to put 2 to 3 seeds per pod um, um, to see if you actually get germination to take place. Now, I've been disputed. Someone has disputed me on this before, saying it only should be 1 seed per hole. But I have always, even when direct sowing, I do about 2 to 3 seeds as well. So once we place that down there, now we can actually place this seed in the plant docking bay. All right, here we are, and we're placing our sponge down in our holder in our docking bay. And look at that, it slips right in there with a pretty tight little seal there around this plastic. And now once we have it down in there, we can take these convenient little toppers and we're going to place them right on the top, because what this does, it allows for your seed to be able to get um, humidity and warmth. And that's what you want when you're germinating your seeds. You want that humidity, you want that darkness, and you want that warmth, because that's what's going to allow it to start opening up and you actually get the germination. This LED light on this LED light is strictly on for the purposes of being able to see what's going on. This LED will go off once we actually start the germination process. Because remember, seeds like to be in the dark because what you're essentially simulating is the seed being in soil. Now, another thing that I find neat about this whole entire system, say for instance, hypothetically, I wasn't going to use all 8 of the spacers here in the plant docking bay. It actually comes with these neat little caps that actually can fit right on those spaces as right on those spaces as well, which I find to be very convenient because this stops again from mosquitoes or any other insects coming in and laying their larvae to create that mosquito breeding ground. But for all intents and purposes, we're using all 8. Remember, we're going to be doing 4 that are going to be specifically spinach, and then the other four are going to be our lettuce that we're growing as well. Now, all we're doing here is we're just placing our remaining seeds in our growing spots. So now that we have all of our seeds and our docking bay, now the next thing to do is just to add water to the intelligent planter itself. Now, essentially, that's going to be 3 liters of water that you're going to be adding. If you want to know what that is in metrics, that's going to be about 101, give or take, ounces. So you're possibly looking at about 6 cups of these. But the cool thing about this device is you actually have a fill line here that shows you once you have met the 3 liters required for filling. All right, now that we've added our required 3 liters of water into our growing system, we're going to go ahead and place this cap right back on the top. Remember, we want to keep those little buggies out, right? And now all we do is we turn our water pump on and we set it and forget it. Now, the seeds that I have germinating here, remember, this is part 1. This is part A of the A and B testing. We're going to do the same exact thing that we're doing right now, but we're going to do that in direct soil. We're also going to provide it with an LED light, but remember, LED light is not needed right now while we're going through the germination phase. So to get the results of this A/B testing, you definitely want to make sure that you subscribe so that you see what the end results will be. All right, and here is our last label there. And now we can fully be able to differentiate between our spinach, abbreviated with SP, as opposed to our lettuce, all of these being with a start date of August 20th. All right, and since our hydroponic solution and our plant food is not needed, seeing as how we're just germinating the seeds, we're going to go ahead and place them down in our drawer where we keep our extra seeds to keep them at a nice temperature until the time they're actually needed. All right, and now for the sake of our A/B testing, now we're going to be recreating the same situation, uh, but with soil. Now the soil that I'm placing in here is just some organic potting soil, and what I'm using, um, the growing medium that I'm growing in is actually just a cake pan that I picked up from the dollar store. You can see I got a little bit of perlite in there as well to help to stop from compaction. We're just going to get all of that soil in there. So essentially what we're going to be doing is direct sowing our soil right into this soil and cake pan mix. Soil and cake pan mix? This soil and perlite mix. There we are. And now we're going to pre-moisten the soil, because remember, when you're adding water to soil, soil, when not introduced into water, is actually very hygroscopic when it first begins. So you need to make sure you pre-soak it first. There. Go ahead and pre-soak her. There we are. Get that water down in there. Nice and moistened. Now what I'm going to do is actually compact it down just a little bit so we can make sure that water gets down in there really good in that soil. You want it to be damp, but you don't want it to be waterlogged. That doesn't create a conducive environment for growing. All right, now that we have our pre-moistened soil, now we're going to go ahead and pick our spots that we're going to be adding our lettuce and our spinach. Now remember, we're doing 4 spinach, 4 lettuce. So I'm going to make 4 spots here for my lettuce, and then again 4 spots for my spinach. All right. Now that we have that, let's go ahead and get our spinach into place. We're going to be delicate with our seeds here. I'm just going to direct sow right into a cake pan. Just get them off our finger. You know, that's one thing that I gotta say is convenient about the Hope Garden, the intelligent planter, is because those tweezers actually make it a lot better, a lot easier to manage and grab the seeds. All right, and now we're just gonna press it down just a little bit to give it a little bit of pressure. And that is our spinach planted. And we're gonna place this label here. And boom. I don't know if you can read that there, but we got spinach August 20th on that one. All right, now onto our lettuce. And just like before, just gonna grab those lettuce seeds out of this handy little shot glass here. Those down in there and compact them. Maybe need to pour a little bit of this water out, making it harder to grab the seeds. There we are. Boom. And two there. Being gentle with the seeds. So remember, you don't want to damage them. Don't want to damage them at all. All right. And we have two more there. Let's get some of this extra water out of here. Okay, that makes all the difference there. Let's see. And we get us two more seeds. And in our back hole here, come down in there in that soil. And then, let's see, boom. Looks like we got a gang of them there. We got about 3 or 4. That's fine. Place them in this last. Place them in this last hole here. Right, now that we got our lettuce, let's go ahead and put our tag back here as well so that we can fully identify them. And now at our top, because what we are trying to duplicate here is the same exact growing environment in the Hope Garden. Only variable, only difference is one is going to be grown in soil, and then the other is going to be grown hydroponically in the Hope Garden. As far as our A/B testing goes, remember this LED light, of course, is going off, so it will be darkness. But we have our Hope Garden over here, then with the intelligent planter and the 8 pods, and then here we have our DIY homemade seed germination tray that is made out of a cake pan and a cake pan topper. Uh, they will both be provided with the same humidity environments, because you can see this topper creates a humid environment just as these toppers over here. And then once the seeds start germinating, we will see, well, actually, we will see which germinates first, hydroponically grown or the direct sows. All right, guys. So we have our A and B testing set up, one being our Hope Garden Intelligent Planter, and then our direct sow into soil seeds. Both will be given the same amount of humidity, seeing how they both have toppers on the top of them to lock in that moisture. And then the ambient temperature will be the same as well. We're talking about a temperature of about 73, 74 degrees or so is the ambient temperature inside my home at any given moment. So with that being said, we will see which germinates faster. Now, my hypothesis, my guess, my thoughts is that the hydroponically grown or hydroponically germinated seeds will actually germinate faster, but that can only really be deduced from testing. So please use this video as a reference point so you can see which actually works better for you. And see if the Hope Garden Intelligent Planter is something that you can incorporate in your kitchen. Because as you can see, again, from the video, it takes up a very low profile and Actually kind of looks kind of cool sitting there in the kitchen. I can't wait to see what the spinach and the lettuce looks like. And I mean, think about it. If you're growing right there in your kitchen, you can just cut directly from it and add to whatever dish you're preparing. Then another advantage I will say about the intelligent planter, it's cleaner, it's sleeker. I'm from a period, I'm from a previous engineering background, mechanical background. So a lot of the things that I devise and I create are more on function, less on appearance. I've told you before, I've grown hydroponically. I've done Kratky method. I've done aquaponics, and all of the things I've created before, they function, but not necessarily the most aesthetically pleasing, as my wife would so eloquently put it. But something like the intelligent planner, if it does what it states it does, I could see this being in your kitchen and it not, looking god awful. So if this is something that you're considering, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see what our results are and see if this is something that works within one, your budget, but then two, also the convenience of your home. And as we like to say over here at Urban Gardening with Gray, make sure you enjoy life, enjoy family, and enjoy your garden. I appreciate your time. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day.